The horror genre of the mid to late 2000s was not a fun time for me. The genre had shifted almost entirely, it seemed, to movies that emphasized brutality and torture over everything else. Remakes were still trendy, not that they aren't now, but we were still awash in that first wave where all the classics were receiving the remake treatment. But even those remakes tended to lean more toward the brutal. Then I saw the trailer for Your Next, and I was excited. It looked slashery, it looked fun, it looked right up my alley. The trailer was a bit deceptive though. Your Next wasn't quite the slasher I was expecting. Granted, people definitely get slashed in it. They also get stabbed, shot with arrows, hacked up with machetes and axes, among various other horrible ways to die. And yes, that is a reference to another Adam Wingard film, A Horrible Way to Die. What I wasn't expecting was the tone of the movie and the snarky sense of humor. It's less a slasher movie and more of a home invasion survival horror movie, involving a bunch of rich, spoiled a-holes that I ultimately didn't care for in any way, stalked by killers who are inept and not very threatening, and a wildly overpowered final girl. I left the theater feeling pretty meh about the whole thing. I revisited Your Next a few years later, and I appreciated it a lot more a second time around. So when I saw that Second Sight was putting out the film on a limited edition 4K, I said, Your Next to Your Next. The film revolves around a wealthy family and their guests who've gathered at a secluded house to celebrate an anniversary, only to find themselves under siege by a group of masked maniacs who want to kill them all. However, what the killers didn't bargain for was that one guest would be a trained survivalist, and a far more efficient killer than they are. The cast is quite strong. It's great to see Barbara Crampton in, well, anything really. Joe Swanberg is also a standout here. He plays an insufferable a-hole with a face that was made to be beaten into a bloody pulp, and plays it darn well. I also really dig his character arc. Sharni Vinson is believable as the tough-as-nails Aaron, and a pre-X trilogy Ty West has a small role as an indie filmmaker. Talk about life imitating art, or art imitating life. When it comes to the bloodshed, director Adam Wingard and writer Simon Barrett don't hold back. One of my favorite moments in the film involves a blender and a guy's head. On the downside, a lot of the humor still doesn't quite land for me, and the killers never really feel like a threat. It's a combination of their own incompetence as killers and Aaron being a overpowered freaking killing machine. In fact, most of the movie it feels like she's stalking them instead of the other way around. And despite them being armed and having their own trained backgrounds, none of them really put up much of a fight against Aaron. Stylistically, I like the handheld camera work, which makes it feel like you're right there in the mix with everybody. There's some nice savage moments in the film as well, and the pacing is tight. Your Next isn't perfect, but there's plenty of fun to be had here, which definitely makes it worth your time. And if you're a fan of Your Next, then this new limited edition 4K and Blu-ray release from Second Sight should definitely be in your collection. The 4K picture quality offers a lot in the way of detail, and there's some impressively deep black levels here too. A big plus considering that most of the movie takes place at night, in a dimly lit home with a bunch of killers lurking in the shadows. The colors are a bit muted though. Your Next has a very fall vibe about it, with oranges and browns, so the colors don't pop, is what I'm getting at here. As for audio, we get a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 track, which I thought sounded full-bodied and crystal clear. Overall, I'd give the picture quality here a solid 4 out of 5, and the audio quality a 4.5 out of 5. This release comes inside a rigid slipcase with new artwork by Nick Charge. There's the discs. The Blu-ray is Region B locked. We get a 120-page book with new essays by Martin Contrario, Andrew Graves, Kurt Halfyard, Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, Shayla Rowan Legg, and Heather Wixon. And we get 6 collector's art cards. As far as extras are concerned, first up we get Children of the 80s, an interview with Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett, It's 1 hour and 43 seconds in length. They discuss the development of You're Next, from the screenplay and the movies that inspired the story, casting Barbara Crampton, the biggest challenges for the shoot, the special effects, the killer's masks, how badly the fake blood smelled after a few days, finding the right house, the 2 endings, the editing process, the film playing at TIFF's Midnight Madness, the film getting shelved for 2 years, the lackluster release, its cult following, and much more. Next, we have The Most of Us, an interview with producers Keith Calder and Jess Wu Calder. It's 23 minutes and 24 seconds in length. They discuss meeting Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett and the genesis of You're Next, putting the financing together, shooting in Missouri, finding the house, the casting process, the challenges, and more. Next, we have A Script as a Blueprint, an interview with actor A.J. Bowen. It's 27 minutes and 31 seconds in length. Mr. Bowen discusses what inspired him to want to act, how he became friends with Ty West, meeting Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett, working with them on A Horrible Way to Die, and then You're Next. Mr. Bowen discusses riffing on the set of You're Next, improvising dialogue, etc., working with Barbara Crampton and being totally intimidated by her, the difficulties of working all nights, and much more. Next, we have Down in the Basement, an interview with actor Joe Swanberg. It's 16 minutes and 43 seconds in length. Mr. Swanberg discusses working with Adam Wingard on A Horrible Way to Die and loving the script for You're Next, improvising on set, his character and his character arc, the dinner table scene, how exhausting it all was, and more. Next, we have Be Funny or Die, an interview with actor Amy Seimetz. It's 14 minutes and 30 seconds in length. She discusses having free reign with her character and being able to improvise on the set, shooting the dinner table scene, shooting her death scene, lying on the floor for hours, covered in fake blood, and more. Next, we have Falling into Place, an interview with production designer Tom Hammock. It's 15 minutes and 35 seconds in length. Mr. Hammock discusses becoming friends with Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett, them asking him to work on You're Next, finding the right house, fixing up the house, the killer's masks, creating the logo, and he shares a fond memory from the making of the film that involves expired painkillers, veterinarian painkillers, that is, puke, and a really bad rental car. Sounds like a fun time to me. Next, we have Slashers Don't Die, an audio essay by Tim Coleman on You're Next. It's 12 minutes and 23 seconds in length. Next, we have You're Next, the making of You're Next, an archival making of featurette with interviews with the cast and crew. It's 19 minutes and 16 seconds in length. We get an animated storyboard, or animated storyboards, as well as 2 audio commentaries, the first with Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett, and the second with Adam Wingard, Simon Barrett, Sharni Vinson, and Barbara Crampton. This is a beautiful limited edition 4K and Blu-ray release for You're Next from Second Sight Films. We get a lot of brand new extras, an archival making of, 2 audio commentaries, and it all comes inside this gorgeous packaging with the booklet and art cards. If you're a fan of You're Next, then this release is definitely a must-own. Let me know your thoughts on You're Next down in the comments section below. And while you're down there, let me know what your favorite Adam Wingard film is. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. A huge thank you to all my patrons and channel members for your generosity and support. Become a patron today and get early access to videos, have a say in what content appears on my channel, join me for monthly live streams, exclusive watch parties, and more. Become a channel member today and get access to exclusive badges and emotes to use when I stream, as well as members-only watch parties. Both those links are in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.